She said, "You need to impress my friends, their opinion means everything." I replied, "I'll do my best." After she cheated, she tried to turn them against me. She discovered how impressed they were when they all took my side and invited me to the friends trip she was kicked out of. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Most of you watching still aren't subscribed, so if you're enjoying the stories, please consider hitting that sub button. My girlfriend of 2 years, Olivia, sat me down on our couch about 6 months ago and gave me a performance review. It was about her friends. "Babe," she said, her voice full of that serious, concerned tone that meant I was in trouble. "I love you, you know that. But my friends, they're my family. Their opinion of you means everything to me, and right now they think you're a little quiet, a little hard to get to know. I'm a quiet guy. I'm a software engineer. I'm not the life of the party. I'm the guy who makes sure the party's Wi-Fi works." I'd met her friends a few times. They were a tight-knit group of 6, 3 couples, including us. There was Liam and his wife Maya, Chloe and her husband Ben, and then us. They were all loud, successful, and very into brand names and expensive brunch spots. I didn't have much in common with them, but I was always polite. "You need to impress them," she continued. "You need to show them the guy I fell in love with. The next few months are big for us. We have the lake house trip in the summer, Chloe's birthday, lots of events. I need you to make an effort. A real effort." I looked at her and I saw how much this meant to her. Her social life was the center of her universe. Being accepted by this group was, in her eyes, the final boss of our relationship. I wasn't thrilled about being put on probation, but I loved her and I wanted her to be happy. "Okay," I said, "I'll do my best," and I meant it. For the next 6 months, I put my back into it. I wasn't going to change who I was, but I was going to show them I was a good man, a reliable partner for their friend. I treated it like a project. Operation Impress the Friends. The first opportunity was Liam and Maya's move to a new apartment. Olivia told me they were dreading it. I took a Saturday off work, showed up at their old place with coffee and donuts, and spent the next 8 hours hauling boxes and assembling furniture. Liam, who works in finance and probably hadn't lifted anything heavier than a briefcase in years, was incredibly grateful. We actually had a good conversation about sports while we struggled with a ridiculously complicated Swedish bookshelf. I left that day tired, sore, and feeling like I had made a genuine connection. Next was Chloe's big 30th birthday party. Olivia was stressing for weeks about getting her the perfect gift. Chloe was notoriously hard to shop for. I did some quiet digging. I remembered Chloe mentioning offhand months ago that her childhood dog, a golden retriever named Sunny, had passed away and she never had a good painting of him. I found a local artist online who specialized in pet portraits. I got a few old, grainy photos of Sunny from Chloe's mom and commissioned a beautiful, tasteful oil painting. At the party, when Chloe unwrapped it, she burst into tears. She said it was the most thoughtful gift she had ever received. Ben, her husband, shook my hand with genuine respect in his eyes. The whole time, I was just being myself. I'm a guy who likes to solve problems. Moving is a problem. Finding the perfect gift is a problem. I fixed things. I listened. When we all went out to dinner, I made a point of asking them about their jobs, their lives, and actually listening to the answers. I wasn't trying to be the center of attention. I was just trying to be a good, solid presence. I thought it was working. Olivia seemed happy. Her friends were warming up to me. Liam would text me for advice about his new smart home setup. Ben would send me funny articles he thought I'd like. I felt like I had passed the test. I had been accepted. And then, last week, I found out the entire project was a lie. I came home early from work to surprise Olivia with dinner. And I found her. In our bed. With a guy I'd never seen before. There was no screaming, no shouting. The shock was so profound it felt like silence. I just turned around, walked out of the apartment, and went to a hotel. She started calling and texting immediately, a frantic waterfall of apologies and excuses. We met for coffee the next day. The story was pathetic and predictable. He was a guy from her yoga class. It had been going on for a couple of months. It didn't mean anything. She cried. She begged. She told me it was a stupid mistake and that I was the man she wanted to be with. I listened to it all, my face a mask of stone. When she was done, I just said, "It's over, Olivia. Pack your things." She was shocked. I don't think she ever believed I would leave her. She thought my quiet nature meant I was weak. She thought I was so invested in her world that I would tolerate anything to stay in it. That's when her tears turned to anger. "Fine," she spat. "Fine, but don't think for a second my friends are going to stay friends with you. They're my friends. They're my family. When I tell them what you've done, how you're throwing me out over one little mistake, you'll be the one who's left with nobody." She was threatening me with social exile. She was so confident that her friends, the people she had demanded I impress, would be her loyal soldiers. She had no idea that the project I had been working on for the last 6 months was about to yield a return on investment could never have imagined. It's been a week since I walked out of that coffee shop and officially ended my relationship with Olivia. She moved her things out of my apartment while I was at work, leaving only her tea on the counter. The silence in my apartment is both a relief and a heavy weight. Just as she promised, the smear campaign began almost immediately. I haven't spoken to any of the friends directly, but the digital chill is unmistakable. I was removed from the group chat we all used to plan get-togethers. Maya and Chloe, who used to like my posts on social media, have gone completely silent. It feels like I've been quietly and efficiently excommunicated. I know what she's telling them. A friend of a friend who knows Chloe told me the story Olivia is spinning. Apparently, I was the one who was being distant and cold. I was emotionally unavailable. She had a moment of weakness with the yoga guy, a single drunken kiss that she regretted instantly. And I, in my cold, unforgiving rage, threw her out on the street without a second thought. She's painting herself as the heartbroken victim and me as the unfeeling monster. It's a good story. It's simple, emotional, and designed to elicit sympathy. And I have to admit, it's getting to me. These people, who I had spent 6 months genuinely getting to know, now think I'm a villain. The foundation of goodwill I thought I had built feels like it's crumbling. I'm trying not to care. I know the truth, but it's hard not to feel isolated. Olivia's threat is ringing in my ears. They're my friends. You'll be the one who's left with nobody. Right now, it feels like she was right. I've been going to work, coming home to an empty apartment, and trying to rebuild my life. But the silence from the people I thought were becoming my friends is deafening. I haven't reached out to any of them. I'm not going to plead my case or try to defend myself. That would just make me look desperate. I did the work. I showed them who I was. If they choose to believe her version of the story without even asking for mine, then they were never my friends to begin with. All I can do now is wait and see if the seeds of goodwill I planted will ever actually grow, or if they'll just wither and die in the face of her lies. Update 2. 2 weeks later. Something has shifted. The wall of silence has started to crack. It began with a text from Ben, Chloe's husband. It was a simple message. "Hey man, hope you're doing okay." It wasn't much, but it was the first contact I'd had from anyone in the group in 2 weeks. I replied, "Hanging in there. Thanks for asking." I left it at that. 2 days later, I got a call from Liam. He sounded awkward. "Hey Matt," he said. "Listen man, I know things are weird right now. Olivia's been telling us her side of things and it's a lot." I just listened. I didn't offer any information. "Look," he continued. "I'm just gonna be straight with you. Some of what she's saying isn't adding up. Maya and I were talking about it. We remember you spending your entire Saturday helping us move. We remember how you were with us. And her story just feels off. This was it. The moment I had been hoping for but didn't dare expect. I appreciate you calling Liam," I said, my voice steady. "If you have any questions, I'll answer them honestly." "Yeah, that's why I'm calling," he said. "What actually happened?" So I told him. I didn't get emotional. I didn't call her names. I just laid out the facts, plain and simple. I told him about coming home early, about what I found, about our conversation at the coffee shop. I told him that it wasn't a drunken kiss, but an affair that had been going on for months. I told him about her threat to turn them all against me. Liam was quiet for a long time after I finished. "Wow," he finally said. "Okay, that makes a lot more sense than her story. I'm sorry, man. I'm really sorry you went through that. That phone call was like a dam breaking. The next day, I got a text from Chloe. She apologized for being distant. She said Olivia had put them all in a very difficult position. She asked if I was free for coffee. When we met, she told me everything. Olivia had called a friend's emergency meeting the day after we broke up. She had delivered a tearful, Oscar-worthy performance, painting me as a cold-hearted villain. At first, they had all believed her and rallied around her. But then we started talking to each other, Chloe said, stirring her coffee. Ben kept saying, "It just doesn't sound like Matt, the guy who commissioned a surprise painting of my dead dog, doesn't sound like a guy who would throw his girlfriend out over one mistake." And Liam and Maya felt the same way. "Your actions over the last 6 months just didn't line up with the person Olivia was describing." She told me that Olivia's story started to unravel under questioning. She couldn't keep her facts straight about the timeline of the affair. She got defensive and angry when they asked for details. Her victim act was starting to look like a performance. "We realized," Chloe said, looking me in the eye, "that we had spent 6 months getting to know you, and she was asking us to believe her words over our own experiences. We chose to trust what we had seen with our own eyes. It was one of the most validating moments of my life. My quiet, consistent effort had created a foundation that her loud, dramatic lies couldn't demolish. I hadn't just been impressing them. I had been building my own reputation, independent of her." Update 3, 3 weeks later. The text message that changed everything arrived last night. It was from a new group chat. The name of the chat was Lake House Crew 2.0. I was the newest member. The other members were Liam, Maya, Ben, and Chloe. Olivia was conspicuously absent. The first message was from Liam. "All right, everyone, the annual Lake House trip is in 3 weeks. We pounding." The Lake House trip was their biggest event of the year, a tradition they had held for almost a decade. It was the pinnacle of their social calendar. Olivia had been talking about it for months. Chloe replied to the group. "Ben and I are in. Matt, are you free that weekend?" I stared at my phone, completely stunned. They were inviting me. They were choosing me. I didn't know how to respond. A few minutes later, I got a private message from Ben. "Hey, man, just so it's not weird, we had a group vote. It was unanimous. We want you there." Olivia kind of lost her mind when she found out she wasn't invited. She called everyone, screaming and crying, saying we were betraying her. But honestly, after the way she lied to all of us, nobody really feels like spending a weekend with her. We'd rather hang out with our friend, the one who helps you move and commissions thoughtful paintings. The revenge was complete. And the beautiful part was, I hadn't done a thing. I hadn't badmouthed her. I hadn't pleaded my case. I had just been myself. Her own actions, her own lies, and her own manipulative behavior had been the cause of her own social demise. She had tried to use her friends as a weapon against me. And in the end, they had turned around and handed the weapon to me. I went back to the group chat. I took a deep breath and typed my reply. "I'd love to. I'll bring the beer." The replies came back instantly. A series of thumbs up emojis and happy messages. I was in. She was out. The balance sheet was finally settled, my update 3 months later. I'm writing this on a Sunday afternoon, feeling more at peace than I have in years. I went on the Lake House trip. It was one of the best weekends of my life. It wasn't awkward at all. We grilled. We went kayaking. We sat around a bonfire at night, telling stories and laughing. It felt natural. It felt real. I wasn't Olivia's quiet boyfriend anymore. I was just Matt, their friend. The fallout for Olivia has been, from what I've gathered, catastrophic. Being kicked out of the friend group she had built her entire identity around was a devastating blow. She lost more than just a boyfriend. She lost her entire social ecosystem. The friends she had taken for granted, the friends she was so sure she could manipulate, had all chosen to stand with the quiet guy she had betrayed. She tried, of course, to salvage the situation. She sent them all long pleading emails. She tried to ambush Maya at a coffee shop. She even had her mom call Chloe's mom to try and intervene. But the damage was done. They had seen her true character, and they wanted no part of it. The guy from her yoga class, Chad, was long gone. He was a symptom of her unhappiness, not a solution, and he vanished as soon as the real-world consequences started. The last I heard, Olivia had moved to a new city to get a fresh start. She's trying to build a new life, a new circle of friends. I hope she's learned something from all this, but I doubt it. People like her see relationships as a means to an end, a way to build a certain kind of life. They don't understand that the life itself is the relationship. My revenge was quiet. It was passive. I won not by attacking her, but by being the person I've always been. My effort to impress her friends wasn't an act. It was just my character, on display. I was reliable, thoughtful, and solid. When the storm came, her house of cards collapsed, and my simple, sturdy foundation was left standing. She once told me their opinion meant everything. I guess she was right. She just never imagined that their opinion of me would end up being higher than their opinion of her. She wanted me to impress them, and I did, so much so that they decided to keep me and get rid of her. And that's a better revenge than anything I could have ever planned myself.